Hi, everyone. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of projects that I've personally delivered. All my slides are mine, nothing on Google, nothing from Google, nothing from AI either. I felt the pain of delivering these projects. So I'm just going to show you a couple of before and afters, and I just want you to have a think about what is the most important thing on this slide. So there's a couple of projects from different industries, not just cyber. So what's the most important thing on this slide? Is it the before, the after? This is a couple of projects from my property projects. In the banking industry, making banks cyber safe, before and after. What do you think's the most important image on the slide? The arrow in the middle? I like it. And then also in the fitness industry as well. I have competed multiple times in bodybuilding competitions. And so, do you see the structure, the routine, the discipline? Yeah, there's no AI. Do you see the basics of project management and project delivery? And the lady in the middle, you're right. It is the bit in the middle. That is the most important thing because that is the journey. You know, we're so focused on the end deliverable and the destination, the business benefits, making everything cyber secure, getting the technologies implemented, delivering projects faster. But we very often forget the actual journey and delivering very solid project management governance to manage those stakeholders, egos, and dare I say idiots as well. So I'm going to give you I'm going to take things back to the very basics of project management. So I'm going to start with the project management journey, and then give you a template that I've used over the years and like to think I've perfected to manage, quite senior stakeholders, but getting the information from the very technical subject matter experts and trying to be that bridge in the middle. So very quickly, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to reach out to all of you guys. So I'll give you a quick background. I'll walk through what the project lifecycle is, how to build a high-level project plan or schedule of work, roadmap, plan on a page, whatever you want to call it, and then a quick summary and actions to walk away with at the end. So I'm currently a cybersecurity program manager at HSBC. I've delivered, and I've been there about 9 years. I've delivered, lots of various different types of projects, and now I lead quite large project management teams, subject matter experts, business analysts, and I've delivered, new tech such as Illumio network segmentation. I know they're in the room. Forescout pre-authentication certificates. New implementations, tech demises, evergreening, upgrades, RFIs, you name it. I've done quite a lot of different projects at HSBC and in the cyber industry, and I'm still there doing them in Canary Wharf. In my personal life, I've also been building a property portfolio, so I've done, using the same project management principles, I've also been building, buy-to-lets, HMOs, new builds, and purely because of what I've learned in the project management world. And that's one of the key templates I want to just share with you guys today. And also, I've competed in fitness modeling, so change management does run in my blood. I've used the same, plan on a page, activities, milestones, and tracking to compete a couple of times in Miami Pro World Championships of Fitness Modeling. It says Miami Pro, but you know how they say St. Albans is the Miami of London? That's where the venue is. Okay, so let's go through the project management lifecycle. We all know this, and it's back to basics. I'm just going to remind everyone of the basics of project management. Prince 2 says a project is a temporary organization that is created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to an agreed business case. If only it were that simple. So any project, once we get the briefs from senior management, we need to take it through from initiation to definition, execution, and then closure. So I'll start with the initiation. Why are you doing the projects that you're doing? Do you have a very clear mission, a very clear strategy or an objective that's come down from you, or have you given that very clear vision to your teams? And is the vision or the mission SMART? So that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and of course timed. So a couple of examples: implementing new technologies that are for sale outside, demising technologies. You might be relocating offices, such as HSBC is. We're moving out of Canary Wharf into St. Paul's. or you're looking to purchase your first property within 9 months. So you need very clear, specific, one-line, high-level statements that your team can get behind and are very clear. So you've got the initiation, then you move into definition. So you've now got a view of what the company wants. You start now defining it. So you grab your solution architects, your business analysts, your technical SMEs, your product sponsors, product owners, grab them by the neck, put them in a call, and you have a planning brainstorming session where the project manager needs to lead on this. And he or she needs to be able to take out a very solid, high-level list of requirements from that planning session. And that should form the basis of a high-level project plan. And you should also be able to dig out the key project risks and also, market risks. So project risks are scope, schedule, budget related that are in the control of the organization. But market risks are things like interest rates going up that just, completely outside of our controls. But the organization accepts that risk and is still prepared to continue on with the project. And then, so you've defined it. What's next in the journey? Get on with it, right? Just get on with it. Start delivering like there's no tomorrow. Anyone know what those two acronyms at the bottom are? Go on. Just effing do it. Get on with it. And the other one's get off your... So, it's usually when, you start onboarding teams, so initial payments are due, usually the most expensive part of the project. It will be the highest demand on your time because you, as a project manager, you'll be managing stakeholders, all of the technical delivery teams, and so there's a lot of coordinating to do in this jigsaw puzzle. You've got to set up the structured governance and actions tracking templates as well. And then once it's closed, this is the bit that sometimes just lingers on and there isn't a very clear closure checklist. Has the initial vision been met? Have all the actions been closed? Have all the milestones been delivered? So that's the journey. And now I'm going to share with you the plan on a page that I've always used to manage, that entire journey on one page to help manage those edgy senior stakeholders. So you start with the journey, right? So this is going to be an example of a 12-month project. But before we do that, I just want to talk through about what an activity is and a milestone and just what the differences are, right? So you've got this is an activity, which is something that has a duration. You'll have a start date. In this example is the 1st of February. End date is the 30th of June. And this is an activity that lasts for 5 months. So this could be a design or a build or testing of a certain technology that you're about to implement. With an outline, I've learned that that's how you can sort of track dependencies as well. So if you're reliant on other, like a comms team to help you deliver this, I usually find that quite effective. And then color it in and make it real. So you've got to rag it. So this activity at the moment, we're in March as an example, it's at risk because it's amber. So it could be red, amber, green against that end date of 30th of June. Okay, and then the milestone is slightly different. It shows the end of that activity. So this is usually when the product owner or the business owners will buy the team some drinks, hopefully of successful completion of the project. But there's no duration. It's a point in time, and its start date and finish date is at the end rather than a 6-month journey. So this could be something like, comms published, operating model baselined, design complete, testing complete, UAT accepted, those kind of examples. And then again, outline it if you're dependent on other teams to help you deliver that. And then again, rag it on your, fortnightly steercos or your monthly project working groups. So that putting it all together, this is what an example of a typical IT implementation would look like over 12 months. So again, I just want to take it back to basics, and I just want to break it down step by step. Not to insult anyone's intelligence, but I do think that the basics are often, very often forgotten. And this one tool takes a bit of pain to set up, but once it's set up, I've used them throughout the life cycle of the project. So you've got your different teams that you would have got into the planning call, and you start to get the high-level activities from them. So here I've just used a planning assumption that everything is going to take 3 months, just to keep it very simple. So the technical teams are, again, based on, design, build, test, and implementing the technology. And then at the end, you want to have that handover to the BAU teams from the change teams, as well as a LL, or lessons learned log, post-implementation review, whatever you guys want to call it. But also, the impact of purchasing these technologies on the operating model. How's it going to affect the users? What does the current operating model look like? And what's the target state operating model as well? So that needs to be clearly defined from a business analyst or somebody within the delivery team. Then the project manager also needs to set up the governance. We all have a lot of stakeholders to manage, so you've got to have your daily stand-ups if you deliver in Agile, your weekly steercos, your monthly project working groups, making sure that the different audiences are all catered for in your updates. As well as internal governance. Now, I don't know if any of you work for banks, but the internal governance, you can see it's almost going on for about 9 months. In my case, the internal GDPR stuff at HSBC can go on for like 12 to 18 months before we've even started the technical implementation. And then, comms, of course, you've got to let all the users know of the change that's coming, any impact to the users, and also offer the user training, which I think most of the companies outside are offering as part of their professional services. And if they're not, make sure they do. And then color it in. So this would be, where we are today. And then you put the rags in as well, red, amber, green, as to how those tasks are doing. Okay, apologies now, size 8 font is coming up. So so that was a project example. Now, an enterprise level example would be, the whole cybersecurity portfolio. So these are the 15 functions of the cybersecurity portfolios that I've worked on at HSBC. So, you've got network segmentation. I'm currently sitting in vulnerability management and number 14, threat modeling. So we've deployed technologies and tools across all of these functions and work streams. But how does a plan on a page look like for an enterprise level portfolio that a CISO, group CISO may want to see? So here's the size 8 font. So please just take a picture of it and zoom in. But essentially, it's the same principles. This is a 2-year roadmap. And what we're looking to do is uplift the NIST control framework footprint controls of HSBC across all those technologies. And again, planning assumptions, everything's taking 3 months. And I've kept it very simple, plan, build, test, deploy, hand over to BAU. And then in the second year, the cycle repeats itself because you want to continuously keep uplifting your cyber controls profile. And at the moment, any project managers in the room would say that I'd probably give this a green trending amber. We're not just yet, but there's still plenty of time. Whereas like some projects are, flashing red, there's higher risks across those projects, and some are green, and the blue ones represent completion. So those projects at the top are actually a little bit further ahead. And that's largely it. So just to conclude and close, just remember your vision. You need to have very clear vision, objectives, benefits, and keep everything smart. Your definition, make sure that you get a low-level plan, a high-level plan, and also your RAIDs, which are your risks, assumptions, issues, and dependencies identified. And then just do it, right? Get off your arse, and make sure the project is closed and delivered, milestones are closed, actions are closed, and the job is done and dusted, as well as lessons learned for what you do next time. Just a couple of do's or don'ts. Review your plan every single day, review your risks, and check in on any teams that you have dependencies on. Do not get obsessed with the dates. Just because you've put it on a plan on a page doesn't mean that the world has to listen to you. Life happens, people leave, and so on. So just don't get too obsessed with the dates. And a couple of actions and further reading, if any of you are interested. This is again an actions tracker. So I'd like you all to start having a go at drafting your own plan based on the template I've given you. And wherever Marcus is, I'll take an action as well to come and do another keynote speech in the future. So we're all about actions and doing stuff here. And then just a couple of further reading on the bottom from Prince 2, Delivering Successful PMOs, and also James Clear, Atomic Habits. Are definitely worth a read. And also get in touch with me on LinkedIn if you need any more. So Thank you very much also to Marcus Benson, who's made all this happen. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Quick selfie.